The same old business, but now in a new country. A dangerous job for which, if caught, would lead to dangerous consequences. But he doesn't own any fear about it. He'll keep doing his job, deceiving people with his charm and suave. So will he be able to spy on the people he's working with without getting caught? Let's talk about The Sympathizer. You can check out the review video of episode 1 of The Sympathizer if you haven't. The link is in the description below. In episode 1, we met the unnamed protagonist, the Captain, a North Vietnamese communist spy working with and spying on the CIA and the South Vietnamese in Saigon during the final days of Vietnam War. Meeting with CIA agent Claude outside the movie theater, thinking they're going inside to see Charles Bronson's death wish. But the captain instead becomes an audience of a live interrogation of a woman, suspected communist spy, who's tied to a chair, looks bruised and beaten up, suspected of having a secret list which belongs to the South Vietnamese army. Both look at each other's eyes, refusing to give up for their country. The captain also meets with his friends Bon and Man. Man is the captain's partner in crime, a North Vietnamese communist spying on South Vietnamese. We also meet the character of the general, who works with the CIA even after knowing the Americans are playing them like a puppet. But fate plays an unlucky card. When the fall of Saigon becomes inevitable, the captain along with the general's family and Bond's family are chosen to escape Vietnam for America. But the escape was a bright night full of explosions and deaths, the deadly shower of rockets falling on the airport runway, ready to burn people in its wrath. The captain, the general and Bond leave Vietnam by plane, but a sad tragedy for Bond, carrying his dead wife and son to America. The captain looks down from the plane, faced by the deadly night of violence, but unfazed in his determination to serve his country even from a foreign land. Episode 2 begins with the Vietnamese setting foot in America, beginning their American dream in the refugee camp called Fort Chaffee in Arkansas. But the captain is having a good time already, smoking cigarette and driving a swanky car on the highway to Oklahoma. The captain meets with the general in the Fort Chaffee refugee camp where they see the fall of Saigon to the North Vietnamese on the TV. The general is taken with sadness and grief, lamenting on himself for not being able to save his country. There's a funny scene where the general decides to wear his now irrelevant South Vietnamese military uniform, as he thinks seeing their beloved general in the military uniform will make them feel fortified and reassured. But the general gets an angry, untasty welcome as other Vietnamese threw American food at him and start beating him, blaming him for the fall of their country and death of their relatives and family members. This incident ignites a spark of paranoia in the general's head. During the conversation where the captain and the general have locked themselves in the public toilet to save themselves from the wrath of other Vietnamese, the general gets clouded with paranoia and he suspects there is a mole in the squad, and he tells the captain to find the spy by rechecking the list of the people that came with them to America. The captain feels the fear, but he keeps his cool and doesn't give even a hint of his dark secret. This episode became more intriguing and adventurous as we observe the secretive, out-of-the-box and totally ingenious way of him communicating to his other communist members in Hanoi without arousing a hint of suspicion. I won't spoil it, but the whole process is shown in such a brilliant montage with the captain explaining it step by step in such a comfortable voice as if he's doing it for years now. While the general and his family are yet to be settled in their own home in America, the captain and Bond starts living in LA thanks to a sponsorship by Professor Hammer, an Oriental professor at a university who taught the captain when he was a college student. Professor Hammer is the second of 4 characters Robert Downey Jr. is playing in the series, but to be honest, I didn't like his portrayal of this character. From what I make of Professor Hammer appears to be a queer man. Nothing wrong with that. But Robert Downey Jr. plays the character in such a stereotypical cliched way that it doesn't feel as natural and convincing like his portrayal of Claude. Professor Hammer invites the captain for a gathering, but before that a student reporter takes the interview of the captain, where during a question to play mind games with the student reporter, he suggests that since American cannot differentiate between North and South Vietnamese people, the captain could very well be a spy for the North Vietnamese. Both Sophia Mori and the student reporter looking at him with curious faces, but the captain laughs at them, saying he loves America. The captain arrives at the party and meets Sophia Mori, a Japanese American who is Professor Hammer's secretary. The captain charms her with his suave, smooth talk and a very disgusting squid story, and they begin an intimate relationship. The character of Sophia Mori for now feels very one-dimensional, just a mediocre love interest, but I hope in the later episodes, Sophia Mori will reveal some dark secrets of her own. Meanwhile, Bon is still in pain over the death of his wife and kid. He's angry at the captain for getting too comfortable in the American lifestyle and him already having an intimate relationship with a woman in their home. In a funny scene when Bond comes home and he sees the captain and Sophia making out, he turns the foot of his family to other side. Even though the general and his family are now finally settled in a home of their own, the storm of paranoia still rages in his head. And in a funny scene he tells the captain that someone tried to assassinate him by throwing a toilet seat cover at him from the 5th floor of an apartment. The general is serious about finding the spy and he orders the captain while pointing a gun to his head to find the spy as fast as he can. The captain knows he has to give them a bait, otherwise his dirty secret can reach to Claude and the general. So he decides to trap Major Ohm, a friend of the general's family, who gives the general's wife a candy. And Major Ohm tells the captain and the general's wife how he used his background of the secret police to obtain the candy. The captain found the perfect bait. Meanwhile, the general and his family have opened their own liquor store, but somebody is not happy about it. The general gets disturbed by the graffiti on the wall, which shows a Vietnamese man with a gun pointed at him and the words butcher written on the top. At the party, the general addresses the invitees and tells them there is a spy among them. The guests cheers for the spy to be killed. The captain, standing in the crowd, feels a little fear of now witnessing a collective sentiment voicing against his death if caught. He now have to act fast. But the captain gets all sweaty when after the party, he's called inside the liquor store office only to find the general with a gun and Claude saying only a spy will say there's no spy. The general looking at the captain with a suspicious face, as if he has found out the captain's dirty secret, with Claude saying to the captain, even your name came up for the suspected spy. But don't worry, the captain is too clever to get caught that easily. The Sympathizers episode 2 has set up a stage for a brilliant satirical tale of deception and treachery, of living in a new country only to make a hole in it. A dark, humorous tale of spinning loyalties, where lies shines as truths, where everyone is betraying everyone. As Sophia Mori says to the captain, what are you concealing? That's the question that lands on everyone in the show. What are they concealing? Well, I'm waiting for the next episodes to find out.